Hi there, and hello. Thanks so much for giving us your time. We welcome you into episode number 512 of Three Guys Before the Game. Episode title, Dragon Slayers. Dragon Slayers. See what I did there?
It's actually pretty good.
Drexel was the Dragons. Mountaineers lined up, beat them.
Slayed them.
You could say they slayed them. Extinguished.
Put the fire out.
Squelched them. Pretty good game.
Really good game. Fun game.
Fun game. Yeah,
Close, fun game.
Yeah, it was a fun game. We're going to break that down. A few Mountaineer football notes as well. Textual healing. Quiet week. Final exams.
The week we're in now, quiet week.
Yeah, finals are different than they used to be back in the day when they were actually finals.
What does that mean?
Now I think they should just say, this week should be called Getting Close to the End of Semester Week.
I think there's still finals, isn't there?
Nah, like they used to be. When a man was a man, different deal. Comprehensive final exams. Everything you did from the first day to the end, that was a final exam.
Well, what is it now? And how do you know? You don't know.
Oh, yeah, I talk to kids. They tell me. A lot easier back then than now. I mean, they have computers now. Bring books in.
We got computers now, like that just came about here recently.
Got computers, whole thing's changed. Internet. That Google's out there.
AI writing papers.
Open book tests. Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By GoMart. Go for good times, go for GoMart. Get that rewards card and save on fuel and food. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Got that unbelievable special going right now. I'll show it to you in a second. Talk about it. And Spreads on Stats coming up. How did West Virginia statistically defeat the Dragons? That's brought to us by Conley CPA Group. They provide value beyond the numbers. Got a little bit more intel on that thing. On the
Conley?
The whole CPA world.
Yeah.
Because I may have said once that a lot of CPAs that I know get really nervous around tax season. Right? I may have made that point once.
We'll actually confirm that.
Going to confirm
That's
it.
confirmed.
So I find out from a few of those folks that live in the industry that what bums them out, like their pain point, is not necessarily like, we know the deadline comes. It's the clown that comes running into our office like 3 days before. It's got 4 shoe boxes, 2 manila folders, a reused FedEx envelope, just stuff just jammed all through.
And then 2 receipts fell out on the floor on the way into their office.
Correct.
Yes.
But then he ran in the parking lot, picked them up, and they're wet because it's wet outside, and they just can I get
the ink's starting to smudge, and now you can't tell what it says. Yeah,
that is what gives them angst.
I agree. I understand that.
It's the late arrival.
I understand that.
Well, maybe CPAs should probably act like the airplane people do now. They shut the door.
Just shut the gates?
They shut the door. It's just like, I've been there, seen that happen before. I just thought of something. Me and you almost had one of those happen when we were coming back from that Gasparilla Bowl.
Sprinting. Multiple airport sprint.
I've been there once before. I was coming back. You remember when West Virginia played Oklahoma in basketball at in Charleston?
Yeah, we were at the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah.
So I did the game.
Blake Griffin on that Oklahoma team.
I was in Arizona.
Yes.
Came back to West Virginia to do the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
so when I came back to West Virginia to do the game, I'm in Detroit. And I get like 20 minutes before the plane leaves. I get up there, run up, because I was switching from planes. Doors shut. I said, can you open? Wouldn't open the door.
They don't give on that either.
So that's what I'm saying CPAs probably should do.
Just close the door. Close the gate at a certain point.
Like you see some dude out there running towards in your parking lot, and they're running toward you, and you can just see he's got 3 shoe boxes, the FedEx envelope, he's spilling receipts out. You just go like, closed for business.
The challenge is that's easy for the gate attendant because you have never seen that gate attendant again, I'm guessing.
Right.
She's never ran across you. He never ran across you. Whoever, right?
Right.
So that's easy to tell you no because never seeing you again. a lot of times those clients that are coming in a little disheveled are longtime clients, have been around for a while. You want to try and help people. That's what they do. CPA is there to help people. So it's harder to tell those folks no or shut the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens.
I understand. I get it. Anyway, that's why they're nervous. They're not nervous. They know the deadline's coming. It's just the people.
They can run the offense. They're fine.
Yeah, they can run the offense, but sometimes they need the players.
Sometimes the play call doesn't get in soon enough, and the play clock's dwindling on them, and it's not their fault, and they're screaming over there while the coaches are converging and don't get the play in. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. I think we could be helpful to them. Do you think maybe like the state CPA organization, the state accountant, they probably bring us in. We could probably like speak to their group or something when they have their annual meeting.
Well, sure, we can do that.
Do some meditation exercises, give them some deep relaxation.
Probably we can work on that.
Yeah. Final score, West Virginia 66, the Drexel Dragons 60. Dragons went into the locker room with a 2-point lead, 33-31. Interesting game for a bunch of different reasons because West Virginia did some things that they have not been doing and the things that you have to do to win basketball games. What is it, you might say? Well, they forced an above average number of turnovers from Drexel. 17 to be exact. And this is a Drexel team that wasn't turning it over a whole lot, just a hair under 12 per game. And then West Virginia not only got turnovers, they scored off of them. 22-10 advantage off of turnovers and points. That's plus 12. Something else. West Virginia, this has to be the first time this season. West Virginia bench outscores Drexel's 19-14.
Big.
Yeah. Why did it happen? Well, West Virginia actually now has got a little bit deeper bench.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Saturday coming up, big parade. Mylar balloons, probably have cotton candy.
Floats.
Trumpets. And not a regular, not like a Louis Armstrong trumpet. There was a short one. I'm talking about one of them ones that's like a piece of conduit on the end, goes out about 5 feet, got a flag hanging down of it. And same guy that works the Derby there in Lexington, he needs to make the announcement. The 9-game suspension is finally over for Kerr Kriisa.
I mean, if I'm Kerr, I come out in a top hat for the opening tip.
At least warm up in it. At least warm up with a top hat and a walking stick.
Well, we'll talk some more about that here coming up, but yes, it is a massive addition getting him back on the heels of Kobe Johnson coming off one of his really good games. 6 assists, 1 turnover. So now you get some real depth and again, a team that we've talked about all season struggling to find combinations and players and getting guys rests. Suddenly now with a Cook back in the lineup and with Kerr Kriisa set to emerge, it's funny. It's only two guys, but when you were playing 6-7 only, that's a 33% increase in your lineup and your combinations. Yeah. I do think that's going to help tremendously.
Yeah, exactly right. So,
well, real quick on the Drexel, one more key, because you were headed down that path and we veered off there. The other story, I thought, the two main stories for West Virginia's win: one's points off turnovers, like you said. 2, made some shots. Game's a lot easier when you make some threes.
Yeah, they finished with 7 of them, and 2 came from people you did not have penciled in at the start of the game that were going to make threes.
Right.
Like if someone came up to you before the game and said, okay, here's the deal. A Cook and Pat Sumnick are going to get 3-pointers today. You go like, I'll take that. They won by 6.
I think that was the single biggest difference. There's a lot of things, and that was a really well-played, close game back and forth with both teams. Either team could have won, wouldn't have been a surprise. Pat Sumnick playing 3 minutes, but stepping into that 3 and draining it was massive. And at Cook's minutes, we can talk about him overall here in a minute. The 3 was huge from him, but he also gave you some really good minutes to the point. At one point, he was in there, and we saw the first game when he came back, Josh had to take a foul and a timeout in that first game in order to get him out, just because that adrenaline was kicking. The wind was gone pretty quickly. This game, at one point, Josh looked out and saw that the guys were tired and took a timeout, and as soon as he took it, I looked at a Cook, and a Cook was like waving him off like, no, I'm good, don't take me out. I think it was actually for Quinn to get him a rest, right. But that's how fast a Cook moved forward and played a really significant part of that game on Saturday.
To underscore the significance of a Cook's play, think about this. He played 12 minutes and 6 seconds. 12 minutes and 6 seconds. So how big of a role could he have in a 40-minute game? So he goes 2 of 3, 1 of 1 from 3. He gets a rebound. He has 2 assists, and he blocks a shot. So you go, okay, but how big was that? Well, when he was on the floor, West Virginia with him is plus 15.
Mm-hmm.
So it's by far and away the highest plus minus of the game. So a Cook was 15. Ofri Neve was 9. Seth and Kobe both came in at 5. So you can't overhype what role he particularly played in that game. So that plus minus, just to kind of break it down for you a little bit, it's what does West Virginia do when your feet are on the floor? It's an old hockey statistic. You used to see it more in hockey. When you're on the ice, what's your team doing? Well, he's plus 15 in that game. And some coaches, they kind of poo-poo it. I'm not saying that's the absolute landmark, but that gives you a pretty good representation that when he was on the floor, things went well. Fair way to say that?
They did. Yeah, and he as you look through the different lineup combinations that were on the floor, leading to that plus 15, those didn't all come at once, but he was in that game in that key critical part of the second half. Really, if you want to know where the game was won, started the second half to about the 14 mark, just over 14 minutes. West Virginia put up 17 points in that stretch. That 6-minute run right there. And for a team that had been struggling to score against a good defensive team in Drexel, that was the moment where that switched over and West Virginia took command of that game. Here's the other thing on a Cook that I think you watch going forward that if you're Josh, you have to be thrilled about. You talk about different combinations and things you can do. So first of all, you can play a Cook with Jesse Edwards, which gives you a heck of a back line there on the defense with 2 6'10", 2 7-footers basically in there with reach.
You know what that gives you? A lineup that you're supposed to have at this level.
Yeah,
right?
True.
That's what you need to have at this level. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so and then you slide Slazinski into a 3 at 6'8", 6'9". Okay, now you look like a major Power 5 team, right? So defensively, that creates a lot of problems for teams trying to get into the basket. That's one. Number two, when Edwards needs a rest now, you can go to a Cook as the backup if you need to, right? Sumnick's still going to play some time because you're still going to need his body in there. But now you can put a Cook, and you did that Saturday against Amari Williams, who we'll talk about in a minute, the talented center for Drexel, and you didn't lose a ton defensively. Williams didn't automatically get to take over that game when Jesse Edwards went out. So I think you have some real options now as a Cook continues to work himself back in the lineup.
All right, folks, a reminder that Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by the fine folks at Comax Business Systems. Whatever it needs when it comes to your business office equipment needs, they have you covered. And when it comes to your information technology, also known as your IT, they can remote monitor your IT within your business place. They can make sure that you are safe, or as safe as you possibly can be, from attacks on your network and all of that proprietary information, confidential information you may have. They can provide all of those services. It's Comax Business Systems, comaxwv.com. And I said, Senator, about their equipment systems, right?
Yeah.
I've got a printer from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I print my basketball score sheets on there, on that printer. Legal paper, right? So first couple times I did that this year, I saw some lines coming in that weren't supposed to be there. That way. So I just made a call down there to Bob at Comax. I said, Bob, let me send you a picture here. Tell me what you think. He says, I'll get right back to you. About 90 minutes later, he says, okay, here's the deal. You're using card stock in that printer.
Which you had not previously told him.
No,
they diagnosed that.
He says, you're using card stock. You need to go in there and get into the settings. Let it know that you're going card stock. That way, the printer will warm up hotter so that will stay down. Make that change. Boom.
Got it.
Oh, I mean to tell you. They're sparkling now.
It's a sophisticated printer.
So Comax Business System, just like we always say, they're going to get it done for you. You ready to do a little spreadage on statage?
Yeah, you want to jump right in?
Was it good? I mean, when you looked at the numbers?
Yeah, it was good. It played out, quite frankly, it played out kind of like we thought it would. It was going to come down to who made shots. West Virginia made a few more. But let's dive in because I think there's some interesting things we can uncover here.
Do it.
So I checked the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show.
Ready? 5, 4.
Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the Conley CPA Group, complete public accounting and consulting firm serving clients throughout the state of West Virginia since 1985. So we're heading toward 40 years. They do provide value beyond the numbers, priding themselves in giving you more than just numbers or just getting your tax return or your balances all set. They'll take a client-specific approach, learn all about you so that they can help you and the challenges that you're dealing with. Because let's face it, man, that stuff gets complicated. Rules are constantly changing in regard to taxes, and you need someone in there to go, this is what it means now. So from audit to assurance, tax planning, preparation, consulting, and advisory. They'll also outsource. You can outsource your CFO services, right? Your chief financial officer, they'll do that for you as well. Remote in takes a lot of the stress away. It's the Conley CPA Group. Are we still, we're probably late enough in the season now. I mean, we're at the third mark of the season. You can start to be able, I'm not going to put you on this now, but like pairings, the 5 on the floor, most productive.
Mm-hmm.
That coming?
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of that there with a cook just now. You're starting to get that a little bit. Yeah, we're getting there. As we always say, the numbers become more stable the more games you get. And that's the fun part about basketball. You play so many games, you get to the point earlier in the season where you start to identify what the teams are all about.
Got it.
So we'll get into that.
Now, you were at the game Saturday?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Couple points to follow up on with our conversation there. What we just said were the two main stories, the making of the shots for West Virginia, and in particular hitting some threes. So that's 7. We've certainly seen West Virginia teams here in the past that have made way more than 7 threes in a game. But that 7 felt like 17.
It's true.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
41% is the key number there. So you shot it well from 3. But
it's kind of like the guy that goes fishing. Goes there for about 5 weeks. He catches 1 fish in 5 weeks. All of a sudden he comes home one day. He got a big old string. He got a big stringer. Got 13 fish hanging off of it. You go like, whoa.
Big day.
That's a good day.
It was a good day from West Virginia from 3. Here's one in particular. They were 4 of 7 from the top of the key 3, so the straight on, 4 of 7. Drexel had only allowed 10 threes from there all year prior to this game, and teams were shooting 24% from 3 in that spot. West Virginia was 57% from that particular area of the floor. Straight on top of the key 3.
Wonder why that.
Nice spot.
I wonder why they had success defending that. Like why has Drexel? I mean, that is a prime piece of real estate.
Here's the simple answer. Drexel's game plan defensively was to go under screens and not let West Virginia pump fake them or put it on the floor and get to the basket. They were saying, if you can make a 3, go ahead. We'll tip our cap if you beat us. And West Virginia did. I mean, that you want to boil the game down, that's what it was.
Going under.
Yeah, Drexel just said, we're going to fight under this and not allow you to beat us off those screens and get easier shots. Go ahead and show me you can make 3s. And West Virginia just did. Right? Sometimes it's a simple game. So that was one stat that stood out to me that was pretty interesting. The other part, you mentioned that 22-10 turnover advantage, points off turnover advantage. If West Virginia were to continue that 22 points off of a turnovers in a game, that puts them in the top 10% of college basketball at the end of the year. Now, you won't. I know you can't do that every game, but that shows you what a big game that was in that particular category.
That's an old lingering stat from the Press Virginia days.
Sure.
If you go back and take a look at points off turnovers during the Press Virginia,
you ate.
Yeah, you got a chunk there. Yeah.
All right, glasses on. Let's go through. Let's do some evaluation here based on what we said we thought we would see back on Thursday's show. So we talked about the matchup between Jesse Edwards and Amari Williams. Amari Williams, Drexel's 6'10 center that's the conference player of the year, preseason player of the year in their league. 2 really good bigs. Williams was a dude in the first half, right? You commented on that a couple times. He was ready to play. He knew that was a marquee matchup.
He was hyped.
He came to play. Jesse Edwards, very solid all game again. So those two lived up to the hype. Williams finished with 12 points, 15 rebounds. Edwards, 16 points and 5 rebounds. We talked about Williams and protecting the rim, how good he was at that. Of the 9 games so far this season, that was the 3rd fewest possessions for West Virginia that ended in a shot at the rim. So he was a factor inside. But West Virginia had success when it did go at the rim. The 3rd most points on those type of shots all season. West Virginia was 12 of 18 at the rim, 67%, while just shooting 61% on the year. So didn't get a ton of them, but very efficient when it went into the basket. Now, a lot of those came when Williams came out of the game, right? And I'm going to get into some X and O stuff from this game that I thought was really good both ways. I thought Zach Spiker had a tremendous game plan and made some good in-game adjustments. I thought Josh had a couple of counterpoints there that were absolutely outstanding, and that was one. As soon as Amari Williams came out of the game, West Virginia just attacked inside when he was away from the rim. So really good matchup. That kind of played out as we thought it would. We said these were two of the slowest paced teams in the country, and that should help West Virginia keep it close and may in the end help them get a win. Well, the game started faster than I think we thought it would. Drexel was really looking for its spots to push. It got more than its average points in transition than it normally does. But in the second half, that game slowed, and it landed about exactly where the numbers said it would, with possessions in the low to mid-60s there for both teams, so no surprise there. Here was a massive surprise. West Virginia had been living at the free throw line. Top 10 nationally in percentage of points coming from free throws heading into the Drexel game. But we said Drexel was pretty good about not putting teams on the free throw line. So who would win that battle? Could West Virginia break through and get some free throws? No is the answer. And here's the further answer. Neither team got to the line. 9 total free throws in the game combined for the two teams. West Virginia just 3 of 5. Drexel just 3 of 4. From the free throw line. That was the thing that surprised me the most. And I'll say this, I thought the officials overall, I'm sure each coach could pick out some plays they didn't agree with this on, but overall I thought it was pretty good. They let them play. It was really physical. That was like an old school Big East type of physical game.
Which is surprising.
But they let it go all game. They didn't change that in the second half. They didn't change it in the last 5 minutes. It was just physical throughout, and there weren't a lot of free throws.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest stunners for me coming out of that game was how it was officiated. And I agree with you 100%. I'm not criticizing the officials because it was consistent from the opening tip to the final gun. Did they miss plays? Yeah, they missed plays. It's going to happen. Did the teams miss shots? Yeah, the teams missed shots. But what I think upsets fans is when they call it one way for a period of time and then do a reversal. I'll just tell you this. There were no touch fouls called on Saturdays.
Oh, my.
When Kobe Johnson two-hand chucked Luke House late in the game, he came down the right side of the lane, put up a one-hander off glass that went. But, I mean, my man, he went like cornerback pushing a receiver off, no whistle. And that kind of was a microcosm of how the game was called. They were whacking it. And if you're good with that, play it.
And I thought ultimately it played to West Virginia's advantage. I thought West Virginia's, we've seen their effort be really good this season, but I thought their physicality and their ability to kind of bully Drexel back, because that's what Drexel wants to do, right? They want to be physical with you. They want to get their points in the paint. They want to put their bodies on you defensively. And I thought West Virginia did a good job of countering that on Saturday, which surprised me a little bit in that I thought West Virginia may wear down under that kind of style in the second half for the last few minutes, and they just simply didn't. They stood right there toe-to-toe.
Yeah, you know what I think it was? And again, this is one of those intangibles. It was the end of a 4-game homestand. Things had not gone well. They knew they badly needed a win.
Yeah.
I think they were desperate.
They played like it.
They played desperate, and they just kind of said, okay, let's forget about getting tired. We got to go out there. And that, as you mentioned, that first 6 minutes of the second half, they came out.
They did,
and they just said, "We're going. You know, it's going to be kind of, we're going to fire all of our shots. We're just going to battle. And if we're still standing when it's over, that's good." But that's what I think that was mentally. They know they needed to win bad.
Yeah, and I think that's what helped create a really fun December environment in a non-conference game that was high level. Right, Drexel's group was into it heavily. West Virginia was into it. Both teams really battled. I thought that was just a fun college basketball game. One last thing on some numbers. We said to watch the offensive rebounding battle. Drexel was excellent on the offensive glass coming in, but even better at keeping their opponents off of it. Drexel ended up with 15 offensive rebounds, turned that into 15 second chance points. West Virginia, just 9 offensive boards that produced 5 points there. So that one came out to what we thought it would, that Drexel would be good on the glass and West Virginia may not get as many. But that's where West Virginia making some shots overrode that stat. It didn't become a critical factor in a win or loss because you made some buckets there that eliminated the need to get on the offensive glass so much.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really good. Let's do a couple of things. These aren't so much numbers based, but let's stay here for a second because I thought Josh had a couple really good coaching moves to counter. Again, as I said earlier, I thought Zach Spiker's game plan was excellent. I thought the way they approached it was exactly what they should have done. And I thought Josh countered with a couple of really good things. First, we talked last week about who was going to make the shots, who was going to step up and start hitting threes, and the obvious candidate was Seth Wilson. He's really been struggling from distance. And the other night against Pitt, Josh Eilert, even a couple of times during the game, got on him for passing up three-point shots and just simply said, Seth has to shoot. Shooters have to shoot. When you're open, you've got to get the ball in the air. Well, the thing that I thought Josh did an excellent job of, brought Seth Wilson into the game off the bench the other day. And as soon as he brought him in, immediately ran 2 sets for him on the first 2 offensive possessions he was on the floor to create open threes. Mm-hmm. Seth banged them, which gave him a ton of confidence, and I think gave the team confidence by extension that, okay, the seal's off, we can make shots today. Right? I thought that was huge.
Yeah, it is. The game is so mental, and you're exactly right. I mean, he came in, I had that note. Seth going into Saturday was 1 for 10 from 3 in his last 3 games. You come out there, you hit your first 2, it's the equivalent of winning the lottery.
Yes.
All of a sudden you go like, okay, it's back, I'm good, let's go. It helps your defense, it helps everyone around you because it just gives this huge release for the rest of his teammates to go like, we're good.
Here we go.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, and then he ended up with 3 on the day, which, as you mentioned earlier, were massive. I thought the other thing that was good, late in the game, West Virginia exploited a matchup with Quinn Slazinski, and they put him in a 2-man game with Jesse Edwards on a couple of possessions. Quinn's defender was having some trouble staying with him in the lane when Quinn was trying to, and that's where the physical nature helped because there was some banging between those two, and Quinn was just bigger and able to push his way into that lane. But the matchup was really good and smart to take advantage of because Amari Williams was the help defender there on Edwards. But it put Williams in some conflict because what's Williams supposed to do? Does he come over to try and help at the rim on Slazinski? If he does, what happens? The lob opens up and you get it to Jesse Edwards. So it kind of forced Williams to stay home on Edwards and allowed Slazinski to work a little one-on-one right there to get a couple of baskets down the stretch. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was pretty good too.
We mentioned that Amari Williams, the Drexel center, had 16 rebounds.
He was a dude.
Let me give you some names of the last time guys had 16 rebounds against West Virginia. Who were they? In the 16 rebound club, Mike Sweetney from Georgetown.
Hey, big boy.
Who would not only take the rebound, he would then just take the ball and squeeze all the air out of it. I mean, just an absolute man-child. Blake Griffin had 16 against West Virginia. That probably was that game in Charleston that we talked about, December 29 of 2007. Luke Herringody had 16 at Notre Dame in 2008. Remember the center when we first came into the league at Baylor? Rico Gathers,
sure.
The
ended up playing football.
Yeah, for the Cowboys. Landon Lucas, you remember him from Kansas? Their big dude. He had 16. Then when West Virginia played Texas A&M in Germany, this was 17. Tyler Davis had 18. And then a cat from Murray State in the NCAA tournament game, I don't even remember this, he had 17. Yeah. But, I mean, if you get 16, you're a pretty good player. Let me give you some other guys that have had big games. Listen. I mean, to get 16 shows you're a really good player. Here's some of the guys. I mean, this is pretty wild. Eric Mobley from Pitt. Zendon Hamilton, remember him from St. John's. Sure. Danye Abrams from Boston College, great player, a great player. Austin Crocier from Providence. They went to the...
he had that many rebounds.
Yeah, he did.
A good player.
He had 16.
He's a pro.
Tim James, remember from Miami? He was really good.
Yeah.
Troy Murphy from Notre Dame. Michael Bradley from Villanova. That was in 2001. J.R. Van Hoos, remember from Marshall? Mm-hmm. I remember that game. He had like 200. No, he had 18. So that's just like, so Amari Williams, congratulations. You put 16 boards up. That's something to be proud of.
He was really good. So I thought it was a really good college basketball game. I think if you're Drexel, you should be happy that you played toe to toe in this building against West Virginia. You'll also walk away saying, "Ugh." That was one I think Drexel will say to you they think they could have gotten. Yes. They needed a couple more shots. West Virginia was the team that got them. So I think Drexel goes on to have a really good year, wins in their league. That ends up being a nice win for West Virginia at the end of the year.
Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. How about a $500 shopping package at Go-Mart?
Yeah, you could use that.
All you have to do is embrace the chill and win. Magical time of the year, Go-Mart teams up with M&M's. Now, that's never a bad partnership when you team up with M&M's. Celebrate the season. It's the Winterland giveaway from now until 15 December, which is just now 4 days away. Spread the holiday cheer, give you a chance to win a $500 shopping package or one of two $500 Go-Mart gift cards. Really super easy to join this thing. Visit any Go-Mart, scan the QR code in the store, let the holiday magic begin. Visit the Go-Mart app or check out gomart.com to learn more. Got to have that rewards card. Just imperative to have the rewards card. Okay. Football. We're going to do textual healing in a second. Beanie Bishop has now won 213 All-American awards.
He's stacking awards here this postseason.
He really is.
Picked up another one today. First team All-American from the Football Writers Association of America. Adds to his list of Walter Camp first team, College Football Network first team, Bleacher Report first team, USA Today second team, and CBS Sports honorable mention of lists that are already out. Zach Frazier picked another one up today. It was named first team All-American center by the Action Network. Brett McMurphy, Stuckey, we've had on Sportsline many times
a regular,
before.
Wasn't he?
Those guys named him as a first teamer. Zach was to 4 other teams last week. Second team at SI, The Athletic, USA Today, and the College Football Network. So those guys continue to get high praise, as well they should.
Yeah. The WV women's basketball.
By the way, what are you doing? Are you a little Three Guys coffee there?
It is. By the way, we got an update on that. WV women's basketball team.
Yeah. Off to a good start.
Yeah, you could say that. It's the 50th year of WV women's basketball, and Mark Kellogg, the head coach, has his ladies out to a 9-0 start. First time a first-year coach has had a 9-0 start here in program history. Yesterday, they entertained Delaware State at the Coliseum de Montboulevard, and kind of had a pretty good indication which way it was going after one quarter of play. It was 37-7, West Virginia. And to his credit, Coach Kellogg took off the press. And that could have been, anyway, they won by, what was the final? They won by 200 points?
60-ish. It was right there is where it finished.
60-some.
Yeah.
60-some points. West Virginia connection in that story on Delaware State.
Mm-hmm. This is a good one, yeah.
Yeah, Canute Curtis's daughter, I think she's a sophomore, plays at Delaware State, and Canute was there.
Yeah.
And
it's nice to have him back in Morgantown.
Absolutely. One of the all-time greats, Hall of Famer, and still leads the school all-time in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. So, the Amityville Whore.
Which is an all-time great one.
Yeah, ranked that is among one of the all-time great nicknames. So he's from Amityville, New York, and he was a whore to opposing quarterbacks. And I think it was on, John Antonic on the radio. I was listening. I was cooking yesterday in the kitchen there. It was where you normally cook, because if you do it in your bedroom, it makes a mess. But anyway, I was listening to the game, and Antonic said, when he was being recruited by West Virginia, he said, I'm not a defensive end. And they said, no, you're not. We have a position called a rush end. A rush end. And John said, from that point in, said, I'm in, rush end. You remember when we had him on Three Guys? And he told that story like he came to town, didn't have sheets.
Like bed sheets.
Bed sheets, like it was just totally, like just got.
Yeah, dropped off.
Dropped here, went to Towers, and like, where am I? What is this? I don't know what I'm doing.
If you haven't heard that episode, I encourage you to go back and listen to that, one of the summer series with him. It was incredible, because he's a guy, all-time great name, all-time great legend, but you just haven't heard a lot from him. He hasn't talked a lot.
He's very quiet.
He had some incredible stories, and the great one about just when his first day on the practice field.
Yeah, Rich Braham.
I hated
78. Is that what he said?
Yes. He goes, I didn't even know his name. Just knew I hated him. Just beat me up every practice.
That's the best.
So it was a really good episode if you didn't get a chance to hear it. Yeah, it was good to see him back.
All right, I was just going to go into a harangue about that. But, I just wonder, with the transfer portal and as easy as it is to depart now, how many of these all-time great Mountaineers would have left if they would have been able to leave without having to sit out a year?
Sure.
I mean, the names that we talk about and the all-time greats, and I'm sure including some Hall of Famers, they would have never been here because it would have been easy to leave.
And there's a lot of those stories, I'm sure, but there's also the other stories too. Like think how many guys were here and behind great players that never got a chance to pop through, that would have been better to play somewhere else too. So there's both those stories that are out there.
Yeah, they're both. All right, let's do this thing here. Time now for textual healing. We're checking in with you. And a thank you to everybody. So yesterday was the 10th of December, Sunday. That was our deadline for absolutely positively to guarantee that you could get items from episode 800 delivered to you. And we want to just give a heartfelt thank you to everybody out there that's taken advantage of our Christmas shop, even without a catalog for Hoppy. We never did get the printed catalog for Hoppy. By the way, in case you haven't noticed, Hoppy isn't here today. Have no idea where he is. Wandering around aimlessly somewhere. But anyway, we're getting really good positive reaction. We can always get better. And so we are going to get bigger and better as we go forward. Sold out of the popcorn again. Sold out of the popcorn again.
Are we on V4 now, version 4?
Well,
Run 4?
They delivered Saturday. Another production order went in literally this morning. It'll be back in and ready for delivery at the U.S. Postal Service location in Star City this coming Friday morning. It goes out. So don't you fret a thing. The orders came through if you came through in the last week or so, you're going to get your kernels before Santa arrives. It will be before Christmas if you placed orders before 11 December. That's what we're talking about. You'll get your stuff if you placed an order before the 11th of December. Popcorn, coffee, bourbon barrels, and apparel. Speaking of those bourbon barrels, they're Matt at Bearwood, another West Virginia business, delivered 20 to his store here in Morgantown on High Street.
They're there.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's a great day to be a Mountaineer. Wherever you may be, bourbon barrel, it's a must for all Mountaineer fans. I strongly encourage you to put those in the master bedroom of your home in the ceiling. So when you wake up in the morning.
I don't know about that.
Well, you could put it somewhere else. Maybe in a man cave or a she shed. We thank everyone for their patience. Students are in the midst of their final exams. They help us out a lot on this stuff. If you've got any information or questions that you need answered in regarding to an ad, just go to the website and you can just email us, info@episode800.com. Info@episode800.com, where our elves are standing by. They'll respond.
Now, the shop is still open, though. It's not like we didn't close the
No.
gate. Like you want to close the gate on people bringing their taxes in. The gate is not closed.
No, you can order everything, especially the clothing and the coffee items, more likely to get to you within a week. That shouldn't be a problem at all.
And if you're local on coffee, you could head over to Mountaineer Roasting and pick it up from Rusty.
Yeah, because I think Rusty over at Mountaineer Roasting, he takes this coffee thing serious. He's got donkeys with burlap bags. He loads them up there over at his, and he just walks them into Star City, pulls the donkey right up there, ties it up in the Star City post office, and I think that's where they ship from.
Confirmed?
We're looking into it. So thanks a bunch. We appreciate that. All right, let's do this thing. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me give a precursor to this, or a preamble, or let me just say something before we start. We're gonna, as if you're a regular listener to this, whatever it is that we do, at times we pick up a particular topic, and it goes and it runs for a while.
Sure.
We've had various ones through the years. We had a lot of people own land in West Virginia.
Yes.
We had a lot of responses to people that own land in West Virginia. They would let us know where their land is.
Still do at times.
Do at times, and that's fun. Right, that was good. We got bombarded by those when that thing happened. We hit a point. We hit a bone there where people were like, "Hey, yeah, I can completely understand it." There's been a few other things that we've hit on. It looks, based upon the most recent couple of shows, that we have certainly touched a nerve with hankies and with the party line phone. I mean, we have touched a big nerve, like a really, really like pages and pages and pages of nerves with the thing. So I'll say this. We're going to read them. We're going to read many. We can't read all. We can't read all. We don't read all of the text every week because there's just too many of them. But we got it. Party line and hankies, we get it. This will be the end of party line and hankies. So enjoy the party line and hankies, and thank you very much. But we just need to continue to till new ground. Is that fair? Thank you very much. But okay, we got it. Is that?
A lot of people like those party lines.
I understand, but yeah, we need to keep. Yeah, listen, Don Nealon used to say what? You either get better or you get worse. You don't stay the same. So we're going to move. Texter. Hello, this is Stephen from the Waterfront Marriott. I've got a question pertaining to the basketball program. Why does it seem to be a foregone conclusion that Josh Eilert will not even have a chance to keep the head coaching position after the season? With the depleted roster, how can this season be considered a fair opportunity for Josh to prove himself? From what I've seen, it sounds like he won't even be considered to remain the coach. It just seems unfair to me, and I feel bad for Josh. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think that's what's ongoing. I think this is, tryout's not the right word, but Josh is certainly having a chance to show his coaching abilities, his leadership, his management abilities, along with the rest of that staff, which, by the way, I think those assistants are doing a great job too, along with Josh, and keeping those guys engaged in the work they do in the practices and stuff. But I think that's an ongoing, open, again, I don't want to use the word tryout because tryout's not the right word, but I think this is a really difficult situation Josh Eilert's been placed in. It's also a tremendous opportunity for him to get some invaluable experience that you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. So I would bet, we need to ask Josh this, but I bet he would tell you what he's learned in the last 3 months has been like light speed, right? Dog years type of learning on how to run a program, how to manage a program, how to be a head coach, how to be the main guy on the sideline. So I don't, whether he'll end up here or not, that's a discussion for after the season. But I think Josh absolutely is having a chance to show not only people here, but nationally what he can do as a coach.
Yeah, I would say this, Stephen, you're right. What it sounds like to you, he won't even be considered. I don't think that's the case. I think that he absolutely, will and is in the midst of being evaluated. So I don't think that's a foregone conclusion, quite honestly. Jerry in East Bank, top-notch entertainment gentlemen, always, or at least some of the time. May each of you enjoy a warm mayonnaise bath over the holidays, but don't forget the handkerchiefs. Gentlemen, I'm writing in support of my fellow journalism school grad, Hoppy, who received unwarranted harassment over his use of a party line and crank phone. I'm a year older than Hoppy, grew up in Fairmont, where we had a single party phone that when you picked up the receiver, the operator answered, "Number, please." In first grade, the nice lady from C&P Telephone came to our school to teach us the latest cutting-edge technology, rotary dial phones. The good days. Signed by CL. Texter, how would you distribute blame for the current lack of players on the basketball roster? Present staff decisions on rebuilding the roster, trying to build a team based on the waiver process, Coach Huggins, NIL. Thanks for keeping us informed. Let's go. I think everything that West Virginia basketball is dealing with at this moment is all the unintended consequence of what happened. There was absolutely no game plan, no template, no how to do this for what happened that late in a summer. None, zero. No one's that I can recall has ever had to go through that. I mean, I'm sure there's been some crazy stuff in some programs in the summer, but it obviously is a first here. So I don't think you can point any fingers and say, oh, they should have done this. Like, everyone's great hindsight. But the unintended consequence is what West Virginia basketball is living through right now. Texter, Hoppy, as if he was here. I'm with you on the handkerchief. I've got a red, a blue, and a green, and a white. White is going to dinner or church. The rest every day. My wife is with those other two knotheads. We'll keep up the good fight for cloth nose wipes. Tony, tough game last night, but always a Mountaineer, real deal, Neil. Okay.
So that was after the Pitt game?
After the Pitt game, apparently. How'd that get in there? I don't know. Anyway, Tony, Brad, and 3 longs and 2 shorts. This guy's good. This is the mailman who's written in from Mercer County in the past. Yeah. He just has nothing to do but listen because he's just driving all over beautiful Mercer County.
Nice.
He says, you asked, I delivered. That's what mailmen do. After all, that's all I do. Every day I deliver. You asked what episode Hoppy hired the soccer coach. It was episode 164 on the 13th of December, 2019. Binge listening to every episode for 6 months, starting to pay off. Good thing I was listening to that Austin P review and retain the information.
That's almost exactly 4 years ago. December 13.
It is almost 4. Dan's been here 4. By the way, super shout out to those guys. What an unbelievable historic season for Mountaineer soccer. And God dang, talking about letting them play in the basketball game on Saturday, West Virginia got absolutely hosed on a non-call in the box, which should have given West Virginia a PK, and the official swallowed his whistle. Soccer is it just drives me crazy.
Unforgiving?
It is. It just drives me crazy. We got a guy punched in the face. They go to review and they don't. I mean, a guy punched him in the face. I could see it. I know guys that get punched in the face. I know when it's on purpose and when it's not on purpose. And then not calling that was just ridiculous. Nevertheless,
heck of a run by the boys.
Yeah. Good morning, 3 guys. This is Jeff in Edwards, California. Sitting here drinking a delicious cup of Mountaineer morning coffee.
Thank you.
Thinking about how fun this football team was to watch. I was happy to see the offense come together, needed playmakers. I was very pleased to see Double G mature over the season, develop into a top-notch QB. I'm also happy to see the emergence of Jaheim the Dream, Huddy Tuddy, and Cole Slaw Dog Taylor. I wasn't able to see the Mountaineers play in person. However, my wife surprised me with bowl tickets. So I'll be checking them out 27 December. This will also be my first Mountaineer game since the 2011 matchup with Marshall. Been a while.
Good for him.
Real quick before I go, a few episodes back, Tony made a Hills department store reference. Brought back a lot of great memories. When I was in elementary school, we would get gift certificates to their snack bar for academic achievements, and I would use mine on soft pretzels and popcorn.
Popcorn big at Hills.
Yeah. P.S. My dad, born in 1955, had a party line when he was growing up in Fayette County. Texter. Hello, 2 guys. First-time texter. Tony, you and I had a chance to chat at Rick and Dave Pill's in August. They're in Martinsburg. Yeah. Could you give Hoppy a break, Senator? A lot of us still use hankies. And Tony, surprised at your reaction to Hoppy saying that his phone was 3 longs and 2 shorts. This picture of a crank phone shows that what he was talking about. You had to crank the phone to get the operator's attention. Once you did, she'd connect you to whoever was calling. Our ring was 2 shorts, 1 long, 2 short, and just about every time you picked up the phone, someone else would be using it. Sorry, us older guys like Hoppy had to be the guinea pigs on those newfangled inventions. I love the show and the digs you take at each other. It was Tim, Fairfield Glade, Tennessee. Lived in Charlestown for 17 years.
Of all the things that surprised me about this, 2 longs, 3 shorts, 3 shorts, 2 long, you know what gets me? You know how on point you have to be to just be randomly sitting in your house, not expecting the phone call. Right? That's the thing. Before even caller ID, you didn't know, phone's who it? We don't know who it is.
Right.
That answers the phone. But to have to identify, like in my era, it was just the phone rang or it didn't, right? There was a sound, it rang, picked it up. To have to was that our ring? Right?
Because that first ring is always going to catch you.
Was it a long or a short? Honey, what was that? Is that a long or a short?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive listening skills by those folks to get it right. But
Well,
I guess with the party line, if you heard a ring, you probably just picked it up.
You got to remember.
And if it wasn't you, you just hung back up.
Back then, people paid a lot more attention to things when there weren't so many different stimuli. Nowadays, everyone's got their head. Like, you couldn't understand it now because everyone would be looking at their phone.
With 6 different sets of headphones on if you're my kids. 3
earbuds and a antenna with foil on it.
Fair enough.
Hi, 3 guys. My husband can relate to Hoppy. Grew up on a farm on Point Mountain, Webster County, little community called Juanita in 1947. His phone number was 2 shorts and a long, with the phone you cranked. He was also born in his house. Funny story is that his dad had called the doctor to come over to the house. Doc checked his mom and said, "It's going to be a while, but get the towels out and the water boiling and get that whiskey out. We might as well drink while we wait." When we were going to get our marriage license 29 and a half years ago, we had to go up to Butler County Courthouse in Pennsylvania. We're getting married where I grew up. We arrived about 45 minutes before they were going to close on a Friday, so needless to say, the lady that waited on us was a bit cranky. She came to the question to ask my husband, "What hospital were you born in?" He answered, "I wasn't born in a hospital." Grumpily, she asked again, and again he answered, "I wasn't born in a hospital. I was born at home." She sighed and snorted loudly and asked, "Where?" He said, "In Juanita, West Virginia." She disgustedly looked. "How do you spell that?" "Well, I spell it the way a girl would, with the J." So that's how it is. Maybe we're not legally married after 29 and a half years since I didn't spell Juanita correctly. We really enjoy your show. Our family owns 3 Guys shirts. My brother's in Ocala, Florida, who's a grad. Faithful listener, wears his Efforting shirt to all the Mountaineer games. Thanks, Ann in Webster Springs.
Very good. Thanks, Ann. That was good. Juanita.
Yeah. So even 30 years ago, people were getting grumpy when it was time to leave.
Yeah.
Friday.
Want it out.
Mark in Ritchie County's got a great idea for Hoppy's handkerchiefs. He wants them embroidered to say, 3 longs and 2 snorts. That's funny.
Hard to limit text because you never know when you're going to get a gem.
I know.
There's a lot of gems in here.
I get it.
That's a gem, Mark. Strong.
East Bank guy writes, "Tony, you 3 guys I don't think fully understand how much you bring to West Virginia fans and how much you mean to Mountaineer Nation. You've connected to us in a great way. Mountaineers are different and proud of that, and so is 3 Guys. Yeah, I'd say we're different. A refreshing podcast that's real, not stiff, not rehearsed, real. I hope you all will reconsider your thoughts of ending this. Thank you all for being real. Go Mountaineers, East Bank guy."
Not rehearsed is right.
Yeah. Charles Godwin's going to be playing here at the Met Theater this week.
Was that this week?
4 days.
What's it, 4 days?
Sold out 4 straight days in a row.
In minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll kill that.
He crushed it at the Ryman last week.
What do they call that place?
The Mother Church.
Yes.
Yeah, the Mother Church.
Super historic music venue place, right?
Hey, should we answer this call here?
What is it? Well, it's appropriate.
Oh, crap. I would have answered it right then and there.
You hang up?
Yeah. That was Coach Spiker checking in. He's probably had a little time now to let things pass. Wants to get his head clear on this thing. I don't think. When do they play again?
I just had that up.
Drexel's got a weird, like the way that they do school.
Saturday.
Yeah.
They're off this week too. They play Albany Saturday.
Yeah, but it's got nothing to do with their final exams. Because like Drexel, like they're taking their spring finals like in 2 weeks from last year. I mean, it got the crazy. Like I'll talk.
Are they on like quarters or
I don't know what it is.
What?
I think they're on like tri-days. Like I'll call Zach. Like it'll be like October. Like our classes start like. What do you mean? Yeah, it's different. Just do it different.
Didn't realize that.
Yeah. Chris in Nashville, about 8 or 9 years ago, I lived in Morgantown. One of my tasks at my job was I had to go to the post office downtown in the morning, Star City afternoon. Both locations, amazing service since I was there every day. I even remember Roger at Star City, who I interacted with at least a couple of times. Nice guy. Glad to hear that he's still holding down the fort. By the way, Thank you for bringing back the West Virginia Connection hat on your website, episode 800. It's my new favorite, even though my girlfriend rolls her eyes every time I wear it. I don't know why she would do that. I finally tracked down, this is someone else, this is Grant in Red House, finally tracked down a glass of the elusive at Fireside Grill in Tays Valley. Absolutely delicious. Great taste, not too hoppy. Keep efforting. Merry Christmas. Let's go Mountaineers.
There it is.
Yeah. Texter. Hey, three guys, thanks for making me laugh so hard that I cried and my stomach muscles hurt when you were bantering around about these 3 long, 2 shorts. Born and raised in Clarksburg, have been in Maine, the state of Maine, for 21 years. I try to catch all your shows, share the information back home to West Virginia with my brother and a very dear friend from childhood. We text each other during all of the games. I grew up with my dad listening to Jack Fleming call the games. Keeping up with WVU through their sports keeps me attached to all things West Virginia. Now, this picture here shows a statue of a crank phone in the town of Maine, about 30 minutes from me. That's Bryant Pond, Maine. It claims to have had the last crank telephones in the country, ending that service in 1981.
Wow.
So here it is, all the 3 long and 2 shorts out there. Let's go Mountaineers. Robin in Maine.
It's pretty good. Robin
P.S.
has that.
I sent my brother the coffee and the popcorn. He loves it. So there you go. That's a big crank phone there in Maine. They were the last ones to use it in 1981, he says. And there it is.
There it is.
The Bryant Pond Telephone Company. And Gil Whitman did a great job on that sculpture.
Tremendous. Well done.
He's no Jamie Lester. Texter. Longtime listener, first-time texter. I think I can personally end the hanky tissue debate. Hankies are better for blue-collar workers. They're more durable. They've got more uses. They're able to withstand elements. However, tissue's far more practical within an office, classroom, or studio setting. They spread less germs. Also, I'd like to congratulate Hoppy on being the only person to live through the Prohibition and ultimately have a beer named after him, Rick in Raleigh County.
Rick, that's good compromise, good mediation there.
Yeah.
So Kercheval should be over on the tissue side. He's not doing any blue-collar stuff.
Last show, we talked about picking on each other. And I said, we pick because we love. This is a sign by a big coal mining guy in Mullins. Gentlemen, I've worked in the coal industry for almost 20 years. The saying around the industry has always been, leave your feelings at the guard shack. If you aren't getting messed with in the mining industry, they don't like you. Have you guys ever heard the things they do to red hats underground? Ha, 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 wow. Love the show. What do they do?
I don't know.
Well, that'll get me 92 texts. One person, please text. Doug in Tampa. Great team win Saturday. Couldn't help but notice the 2 guys calling the game dressed to the nines. Maybe it's time for the 3 guys tie. All kidding aside, I did not notice a hoppy hanky. Player of the game has to be Senator on the analysis. Elite. Can we have Senator every game? Thanks, Doug in Tampa. So you were there?
Well, thank you, Doug. I was there.
Okay.
Had a good seat for that one.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun.
Chris down the street from Ted in Colorado. So you got 2 West Virginia guys live down the street from each other there in Colorado. Feels so good to get a win, especially at home. I think this is the best coached Mountaineer team we've had in 10 years. I'm 100% serious. When Eilert talks, he talks X's and O's. He talks basketball. He lifts his guys up. I love the coaching staff. Let's go Mountaineers. Texter, good evening, 3 guys. Jersey Jeff. We met him at the food court.
Yeah. Yes.
It was great to hear you guys on the call against Drexel. It'd be hilarious to hear some 3 guys like commentary during a game. Tony, 3 longs and 2 shorts as the Mountaineers come into a 2-3 zone. Johnson swipes the loose ball like an old handkerchief and races up the floor like a Lou Wendell marine pontoon boat. Alley-oop ahead to Jesse Edwards, slam dunk. What a West Virginia connection. Brad, you love what we see there, Tony. Edwards' arms like a fly rod Slim Jim from Gomart as he stuffed the dunk. West Virginia really efforting to take control of the game. There you go, Jersey Jeff. He was a psychologist, wasn't he?
I think that's right. Good memory by you.
Yeah, I think so. 3 guys before the game was brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They've got that unbelievable 3-guy special going on now, that Tri-Tune Avalon pontoon. I mean, this deal is rolling along. And that, I mean, as we've talked about this craft a long time. It's got everything you would ever want on a pontoon, from unbelievable entertainment system. Got a great Honda motor on that thing. Got a 150. You get the trailer. You get the whole deal. It's the Entertainer model, the Avalon 2023, and the model number is the 2385. Look it up. Top of the line tri-tune. It's a 3-guy special right now. Got all kinds of lights and stuff on that thing. You're not going to get lost.
Plenty of seating. Good sound system. I've mentioned that awning multiple times. Easy to put up, easy to put down. Gives you sun if you want it. Gives you shade if you need it.
Yeah. They've been at it for nearly 50 years. Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. That 3-guy special, when you walk in or call them about it, you can say, I want the 3-guy special, and it is yours at the 3-guy special price. So please do check it out. LouWendellMarineSales.com. Texter. Hey, Tony, telephone man, an expert analyst. I'm 31. I remember the very end of rotary phones. Party lines, those seem like a different world. We've come a long way from telephone lines, literally carrying radio and television across the country. I bet a few folks put the game on. They thought they were on Spotify, not on the radio. I turned the audio on my phone and put the radio feed on. It felt like a 3-guy show. Here's a screen grab with Tony intently watching while Spreads is making an astute point. Yeah. So I wasn't paying attention to you there. Joe in Charleston. Texter. Efforting in Disney World with my grandson. Beckham's 7th birthday, and amazing how many people said they listened to the show down there at Disney. Jeff from Sandyville. So there he is. We're big probably at
Have his
Disney.
shirt on? Is that an efforting shirt he's got on?
He's got an efforting shirt on. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Texter, Mountaineer Munch is ordered. It will likely not make my kids' stockings. What they don't know won't hurt them. Is there a message in the portal defections are from the defensive side of the ball? That's a good question. No, I would say no. And I say that because who knows? So when it comes to portal defections, some kids need to leave because they feel that they won't get playing time going forward.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that. Some kids leave because they don't think they're getting enough playing time right now, although they feel that they should be. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
Some kids leave because they think they can make significantly more money going somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids leave because their girlfriend broke up with them and they're bummed out. That's not an example.
Or their girlfriend went to another school and they wanted to follow them.
You got that?
Sometimes that happens.
And sometimes, who knows, man? So I don't think there's causation, correlation. Hoppy always talks about. I'm not sure. I don't think there's anything there. Jennifer in North Carolina. My now husband's first exposure to my West Virginia fandom was me screaming at Quincy Wilson and my fellow UHS alum Scotty Jerko in my college apartment during the 2003 Miami game.
Mm.
Thankfully, he married me anyway, and only after that did I take him home. So after she gets married, she takes him home for Thanksgiving at my grandmother's.
Uh-huh.
It was then he discovered my fandom was actually a multi-generational family trait, and he was suddenly surrounded by a gaggle of WVU fans who not only yelled at the TV during any WVU event, but would also expect him to simultaneously discuss West Virginia's quarterback play with one uncle while being ridiculed by 2 others for the lack of gravy on his plate over Thanksgiving dinner. We lost my grandmother back in 2020, and those large family gatherings are few and far between now, but listening to you all, mix of WVU sports and the level of jovial ridicule and harassment that one sorely reserves for those they love takes me back home to those holiday gatherings, so thank you. This fall, I'm able to drag my husband and the 2 boys to the Texas Tech game. We were at the food court chowing down on the tacos. My youngest one goes, wait, if this is 3 guys, where's that beer? I pointed over his shoulder at the Kirchhoff for sale, and he grinned. 2 weeks later, at a different college's games with my middle schooler, who went as the Mothman for Halloween, by the way, they started playing Sweet Caroline over the loudspeaker. Now, this is a different school. His face lights up, and he asks, can I sing the West Virginia version? Well, they also like spending time on my family's land in Greenbrier County. Hopefully that all means I'm doing, pretty good at this whole parenting thing, despite neither of them having ever lived in West Virginia. Thanks for what you guys do to keep WVU fans near and far connected, informed, laughing, and please continue to pick on each other and go on crazy tangents that take me home. Jennifer in North Carolina.
That's a good one. Thanks, Jennifer.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I covered a lot of ground. Well done.
Hey, three guys. Currently, I know several people that tell me they aren't going to watch the basketball team this year because they're not very good. These same people say NIL and the portal are destroying college basketball. Players are not loyal anymore, and they should be loyal. Question for you. What's the difference? The players leaving the program because they want more money, or these fans leave because they want more wins? So here's the dealio. Fans watch, listen, follow the games for entertainment. That's ultimately what it is. They want to be entertained by them. And it's really difficult if they don't feel that they're getting what they want from an experience, whether it's West Virginia or whatever. It's really difficult to convince them to enjoy it more. Like, hey, enjoy this more. Like that oftentimes doesn't work real well. So it's inevitably people are going to check out because things do change and they don't like it as much anymore. And so I think you're not going to win them back. You're not going to win them back. The thing just changes. I think what's important as far as if you want to go down this road going forward, it's really important that we at least seed the younger generation and the younger kids to at least give them a taste so they can make their own decision ultimately. I think you could really get into trouble down the road if young kids are not introduced to, let's just stay specific to West Virginia. If they're not introduced to it when they're young and get a taste of it and see if they like it, chances are it never happens. And if you don't do a good job of that going forward in 30 and 40 years from now, you got no fan base. And I think there are so many different things nowadays that exist that didn't exist previous to this that you could be running a risk. And so it's incumbent upon schools to really, really do a wonderful job to make this something that they want to at least engage in.
It does get harder. Your attention is split. If you have younger kids, you know this and you see it firsthand, how they just consume differently than we did because of all those different options. But, sports is also cyclical. So when you think you're down and there's no hope that it's going to turn around, that's just not the case. Now, does it take longer than you want sometimes? Sure it does. But it's all cyclical and it comes back. And, you take a couple of moments this year, that Pitt game here, that was one. If you're a younger fan getting introduced to that and you were around for that 24, 48-hour period before the game, you got it, right? Mm-hmm. You saw what that was about. If you were around last year's Pitt-West Virginia game, you saw what that was about. So those moments exist all the time. You just got to be on the lookout.
Hey, three guys currently, no, it's a different one. I already read that one. Tony and esteemed colleagues, the gambler and the liquor salesman, Dougie Fresh from Murrell's Inlet here. Want some good news in an often dreary Hoops, Steeler, and Penguin season? As of Friday, December 8th, every day the sun sets a little later, all the way until June the 30th. Tony, don't somehow turn this into a negative. Hope to see y'all in Charlotte.
Is that true? It's December 8th? I thought it was later in December.
I always thought it was like the shortest day of the year was like 20-something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, not questioning his integrity. I got to check that.
Let's look into that. He probably is onto something.
Probably onto it. That's true. That's great.
Well, I
hanging out on my back deck about 8:45 tonight.
You know what that means? You know what he probably means? Maybe the sun is rising later. So he's saying the sun sets a little later each day going forward, but maybe it's rising later as well. That's why the days get shorter up until the 20th, maybe. Right? Possibly.
Okay.
John from Oklahoma City. As portal strategy evolves, do you see guys being allowed to return? And if so, would you set a no later than date for them?
Short answer, that'll happen. Somebody will return. Odds would tell you somebody's return. That's going to be rare. But
no, basically he's saying like, okay, Brad comes to my office, I'm leaving, coach. You say, okay, fine, you're leaving. You have until January the 3rd to let me know if you're coming back or not. Otherwise, you're done.
Yeah, I think there's certain ways you can leave and exit and give your intentions of why you're looking to transfer that the coaches say, you know what? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then you go to another school and it doesn't work out is probably what he's asking there also. Yeah. You go to another school, it doesn't work out, you're back in the portal again, you'd like to return. That'll happen with somebody, sure.
Dean from Parsons now lives in Fairmont, giving us food suggestions for people going to the game in Charlotte. Wife, baby, and I booked a last-minute stay in downtown Elkin, North Carolina, way back from vacation. Lovely area, cool beer garden called the Rail Yard, although it might be chilly in December. Several of the shops and restaurants. During our stop, we grabbed some dinner at the Angry Troll Brewing Company. Could be a pit stop alternative to the Statesville Waffle House. P.S. Happy birthday to my little Mountaineer Camden. He turns 1 this week. Celebrated his first WVU game and win at the Coliseum against Drexel. Look at that little dude.
Awesome.
Tony, he always smiles when we get to the Camden Park page from your wonderful children's book. Oh, yeah, there he is. He's holding the book. Yeah, we could.
That's a good picture.
Yeah. We could go to Camden Park and ride the Big Dipper. What a cutie. They're great at that age. That's before they lose their mind. Run around the house. Texter, Greg in 2 longs and a short, Catlettsburg. I know it's been a minute since I texted. I'm always listening. I'm chiming in to support Hoppy and the Hanky Crusade. I'm a 17-year, third-generation railroader. I always carry 2 of these, red and black ones there, Senator.
Hankies, yeah.
For snot, tears, sweat, or whatever the need may be, have a blessed day. So once again, do you hear what he said there? He says, I'm a 17-year, third-generation guy in the railroads, and what's he got on him? Hankies. And the other guy jumps all of me and says, I don't know how you're making any analogy between hankies and railroad. Well, there I got all these guys. I got Uncle Joe from Petticoat Junction. I got this guy here, Greg. I think an apology is in order.
You're making a second half comeback here on that one.
Was that Ted?
Was it Ted? Was it Ted?
Ted.
Ted's the one that jumped you.
Ted's always jumping me ever since I said I wanted bullet trains. Ben in Chicago. I enjoyed listening to you and Brad on the radio for the Drexel game. It was like a bonus episode. I keep hearing a level of complaining and disparaging of our men's team by my fellow fans about our world champions. I think of it this way. When I was a freshman at West Virginia, we didn't have any true home games.
Ooh,
that was the oh boy.
Asbestos year in the
Asbestos
Coliseum.
2000. Watching the basketball team brings me nothing but joy. They stuck around. They want to be here. They embody what it means to be a Mountaineer. These young men deserve our support, and I hope they get it from all of our fans. Ben in Chicago. Texter, with 3 Big 12s in the Eastern time zone, is it conceivable that the Big 12 could be tied into an East Coast Bowl on a regular basis in the future? Should be.
Good question.
We don't have time to get into it today, but maybe Thursday. I got to do some ciphering on this smoke that's coming out about a potential Big 12 ACC merger.
There is some
rumbling. Seems like that might be, I mean, don't run with this.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it seems like that is like a talkable point because of what Charlie Baker, the NCAA head, came out with last week regarding this new tier. Like maybe you do have some other new affiliations down the road. Okay. Now don't get on Bobby's message board and say 3 guys says that the ACC is merging with the Big 12. Let's just talk about, does that make sense going forward with the new formation of these superpower conferences?
There's a lot of things, yes, but there's a lot of hurdles there.
It's tremendous.
It's a summer topic. We could go for weeks.
Dear 3 guys, giving the folksy circa 1960s homespun direction of your pod, you guys should consider changing the name to 3 Guys Playing Checkers or something similar that more closely reflects the new format. Maybe you could go with 3 guys sitting on the porch drinking RC Colas and eating moon pies. Just think of the sponsorship potential for that one. Tony, you could ride that baby all the way to episode 1600. Listening to your pod these days, sort of like watching an episode of Andy Griffith. Only it's Hoppy as Andy, Brad as Barney, and Tony as Gomer Pyle. Shazam! Signed by Ozzy and Osage. Let me tell you something, Ozzy. There's so few people that live in Osage, we know if there's an Ozzy that's living there. I think that's made up. Take a look at this graphic for those of you watching. After my funeral, I want one of my friends to take my cell phone and then text everyone, "Thanks for coming." That would be great, wouldn't it? I haven't heard anyone doing that. I haven't heard that. That would be a great one. Massive group text. Good to see you. Texter. While doing some Christmas shopping, I found these nicely displayed with a thick layer of dust on them at a clothing store similar to Daniel's. Also, according to Wikipedia, from the late 18th century, white hankies were waved generally by women. Men usually waved their hats to demonstrate approval at public events. Perhaps that would be a more appropriate use of the future Three Guys hanky. Love the show. Merry Christmas. That's a Three Guys GI doc. There you go. Phil sell those? Phil sell hankies?
I don't think. Not sure the demand.
He could probably get them, wouldn't he? I mean, he's got people globally that he's...
We have a veteran buyer that's been working on that, efforting.
Now, this guy that's buying this, that's trying to find these hankies, is a buyer of clothing.
Yeah, he knows his way around the industry. He does. By the way, one quick shout out. Met a nice listener and his crew on Saturday evening.
Oh, yeah.
We had a wonderful dinner. Wonderful post-game meal.
It was really good.
How would Sean say that?
Had a wonderful... Sean would say... Went to the basketball game Saturday, had a post-game meal, the wine bar, wonderful place, cozy, table 1A. Food was stupid good. I mean, stupid good.
You've said that like 19 times. We told Duke and Abby, the owners there, that's rare air that you were complimenting that much. Those hot stuffed peppers.
Oh, crazy.
Put all just kinds of cheese on top.
You know, I'm glad you're giving me the respect I deserve for giving a compliment about food. You always attack me about me criticizing food and service.
You so rarely do it. And you were over the top about this.
Well, but I'm fair. When something's good, I'll sing it and bark it super loud. If something sucks, I'm going to say that sucks. Not going there. It sucks.
You had a nice little hot chocolate, but not cocoa powder, melted chocolate.
Real melted
that turned
chocolate.
Into a drink.
Yeah.
A little whipped cream on top.
Yeah, and a little teeny little spoon.
You had a tweet out there with. You took pictures?
I put 4 out there.
That was very good.
Yeah. 4.
Anyway, while we were there, nice listener came over to the table, Greg Hoos, and his table had a big table there.
He had a posse over there.
He did have a posse. He was very nice. Came over and
he and the wife
spoke. Yes, both listen.
Yeah.
So thank you to them.
Yeah, good to see those folks. We certainly do appreciate that. All right, man, we're back on Thursday. Kirchenbaum's not here. Well, he's on
Gone.
And he didn't go to Africa again, did he?
May have. Don't know.
Who knows? It'll just be us. We'll be previewing West Virginia and UMass. Back to our old Atlantic 10 days. Back when we would play in the Curry Hicks cage. Wonderful archaic facility with squirrels running around the cinder track on the outside of the hardwood. Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By GoMart. Go for good times. Go for GoMart. Take advantage with that GoMart rewards card. Sign up. Got that $500 gift certificate opportunity. Got to get it done. Got to get it done. Episode800.com, another sponsor. Get your stuff ordered. Have the best Christmas of your life. Three Guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. And Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers. Thanks so very much for being with us. Back again on Thursday. For the Senator, our producer, Luke Rousey, we're done. Have a wonderful day, wonderful week. Be good. We'll see you.